Would all stand.
Thank you. If you'll bow with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you for this beautiful weather outside. And Lord, we just thank you for all the many blessings that you bestow upon us here in Baldwin County and throughout our nation. Dear Heavenly Father, we just ask you to be with us today as we conduct the business of the county, and just ask that you bless us and give us the strength, courage, and wisdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we've got a number of items that we need to deal with, and I'm going to let our engineer kind of run the meeting. Joey, if you would.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. The first on the agenda today is going to be the adoption of the July the 15th, 2021 Road and Bridge meetings.
I make a motion that we adopt the July 15th, 2021 minutes.
And I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank y'all very much. So the second item on the list is going to be old business. We're calling it old business just simply because we discussed it in the last meeting, but it's basically going to be just an update on the restore projects. So it's actually going to be under tab 2A. If you'll flip in your book to 2A. Okay, so 2A, the top two projects that you see on the list is Lithium Park Beach Habitat and Shoreline Protection Improvements, and the second one's going to be the longevity, stability, and water quality improvements on the bond-secured DMDA. Both of those were funded through the first round of the restore allocations. Both of them are moving along greatly. The first one, the Lithium Park, was done in two phases. One was, the first phase was a study to figure out exactly what we needed to do. That has been completed. The design engineer to actually start on the whole design from what the study showed has been picked, has been submitted to the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, and we are waiting on their approval for us to be able to move forward with design. The second one is going to be the longevity, stability, and water quality improvements for the bond-secured dredge site. That one has already been designed, already been let. We've received bids. We've submitted those bids and the low bid contractor to Department of Conservation and Natural Resources in order to get their approval to move forward with construction. And we are currently waiting on that response from them to move forward. Interesting note on that site is we received a email from the Corps of Engineers probably last week saying that there's a potential for them to actually want to come in and use that site to dredge Bond Secure River, and they want to know what the condition of the site was in order for them to be able to use it. And of course, we talked to them in depth about this project ongoing. If we go ahead and get this approval from DCNR to move forward with it, timeline-wise, it should not be a problem. So just know that that's going on. The second list of projects under round 2, those projects have been submitted into the portal for funding, and I won't go through all of them, but obviously they are prioritized in order here from our priorities that y'all have approved. The top of the list is the County Road 32 bridge replacement. And all these projects were submitted into 3 different buckets of money: bucket 1, bucket 2, or bucket 3. So just know that those projects are moving and in the portal, and whoever's chair at the time that these come up for voting on at the Restore Council will be moving those projects forward, hopefully. Okay, is there any questions on Restore project updates?
I don't have any, Joey.
No, all right.
Okay. All right. So, new business. We have a presentation put together for the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, better known as IDJA, or better known as the bill. The bill. So the bipartisan infrastructure law. It's known by all three. But I'm just going to give a little bit of a warning here. There's a lot of information that I'm fixing to go through from a slide presentation standpoint. If you've got any questions, please stop me and ask. So it's just, there's a lot to keep up with. There's a lot of money coming down from DC at this particular point in time from an infrastructure standpoint. We're trying to stay on top of it all, trying to figure out exactly what we're qualified for, what we're not qualified for, and what kind of funding opportunities are out there for us. So I'll go ahead and start the presentation. So obviously this is just going to be an overview of the grant program. The first slide here is going to be basically a big overview that shows the pie chart of what, of how all this money is divided up. The bill was $1.2 trillion. $284 billion of that bill is actually new money, money that we've never seen before. That money was split up into different programs. Some of these programs were existing that just got funding increased. Some of these programs were absolutely brand new. The programs are fall into two different categories. One of the programs is called a formula type of program. Another one is called a competitive type of program. So a formula-based program is basically going to be where money is divided up based on population or population density or some type of numerical type of allocation. In other words, Alabama got $45 million, Georgia got, $30 million, Florida would get $60 million or whatever, and then that money's handed down to the state, and then the state would turn around and figure out how they want to allocate that money out. The other is competitive based. So competitive based means they do a notice of funding opportunity. It's sent out to everybody. We put together an application, submit it. Our project is looked at on a competitive basis from everybody else that has submitted into the program. So sometimes those competitive programs can be federally based, or sometimes they can be at the state level. So just know, I just want to kind of give that little brief overview before we go into this, because I'll be using those terms a little bit. So these projects are broken down into different categories. The first category we're going to go over is going to be roads, bridges, and major projects programs. The first one is called the Surface Transportation Block Grant, STBG. Again, I'm not going to go through all the program purposes, but the main thing is to know that we are eligible for this grant. There's $72 billion of funding that came down nationwide. This funding is both formula and competitive. Alabama received in fiscal year 22, $276 million. Some of this money actually comes to the MPO, and some of it's going to go back to the state level, and then and at that particular point in time, we can maybe tap into some of it that way. One of the projects that we got identified for this money is going to be the County Road 64 widening project from 181 to Monte Lucia Way. The next one is going to be our Transportation Alternative Program, better known as TAP. This is actually money that is set aside from the previous grant. They've increased the funding on this to $1.4 billion. It is both formula and competitive based. Fiscal year 22 allocation to Alabama was $28 million. The notice of funding opportunity for the TAP grant actually came out, I think, 2 days ago. And the project that we've got identified for that particular TAP money is going to be County Road 1 sidewalk extension. We've already done one phase of that sidewalk with TAP money. We're hoping to do another one. The next is a bridge formula program. Again, $26.6 billion worth of money. It's formula based. Alabama in fiscal year 22 got $45 million. In the fine print, it does say that $6.8 million are for off-system bridges. So those off-system bridges are going to be, county and municipal bridges. This is what that's talking about. The project that we got identified for this pot of money is going to be the Lawrence Road Bridge continuation, which is the project that Commissioner Davis and I has been speaking with Director Cooper about. Right. So that's that project. The next one is a bridge investment program. Again, $12.2 billion. It is competitive. There has not been a notice of funding opportunity sent out on this one yet, but the project we hopefully have got identified for this is going to be the 32 bridge over Fish River. When the notice of funding opportunity comes out, there's a lot more detail that comes with that about the program, and we'll be able to figure out just how that bridge is going to fit into that program and just how competitive it will be. The next one is going to be the Rebuild America Infrastructure Sustainability and Equitably, which is better known as RAISE. We actually applied for this RAISE grant last year, and we made it to the final round of the allocations, but we didn't push it across the finish line. So this year we decided to go after it again. The funding on to this RAISE program was actually increased, and since we were so competitive last year, we felt that we would be very competitive this year as well. So that grant has actually already been submitted. It's in the pot, and we're talking about maybe finding something out in August, whether or not just how successful we were for that. That's the County Roads. The project is the Baldwin Area Multimodal Safety Project. We call it BAMS. It's for a catchy phrase, but basically it's the County Road 65 corridor extending it north from Foley to Summerdale, along with maybe some sidewalk improvements. The next one's going to be the Mega Infra Rural Program. This is the one that I've already briefed the commission on. The notice of funding opportunity did come out. There was a lot more detail in that notice of funding opportunity that basically said that this was going to be the 60-40 split. So at the time when I briefed y'all on it, the idea was to not chase after this money, since we were going to have to come up with the 40% match. The project we had identified for this was the Baldwin Beach Express 2 from corridor. This one is a federal lands access program. Again, $1.4 billion, formula and competitive. Alabama received 1.2 in 22. The local match is 20% on this. Basically, this is to improve access to any federal lands maybe in the county. We took our GIS map. We identified all the federal lands that are in the area, figured out which roads, county maintained roads, were adjacent to those. The two that popped up was Mobile Street and Veteran Street down by the Bond Secure National Wildlife. And maybe we can get those resurfaced and put some parking area down there. Deadline for that submission is going to be July 31st. Grants for planning, feasibility and analysis, and revenue forecasting. This is basically, the NOFO has not come out on this, but what we're reading into this is basically this is just to help you inspect bridges for those who don't have the funding capabilities to inspect bridges, hey, right?
Joey, take your mic. You don't need to be that close to it. I think we're getting a lot of feedback on that.
We're getting that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's better.
Is that better?
I know you always have to get close because we can't hear you, but it's getting that.
Okay, thank y'all. I'm sorry.
You're great.
All right. So the grants and planning, feasibility analysis, and revenue forecasting, is basically a program to help bridge inspection programs. That's what we're reading into it. When the NOFO comes out, we'll keep a better eye on it to figure out if that's exactly what it is. But we feel like we're probably not going to be a good candidate for that. But which is why we have no projects identified at this point in time. Strengthening Mobility and Revolution Transportation, or SMART grant, it's $500 million, which is, when you look at it from a nationwide, that's not a lot of money. It is competitive. There's been no notice of funding. We do not have any projects identified at this time for that. But we're going to keep on top of it, and when the NOFO comes out, and figure out if there's something we can go after. All these projects are listed on this screen are programs that we feel like we are ineligible for. Those reasons could be that we are ineligible recipient, we're in the infrastructure doesn't meet its criteria, we didn't meet population thresholds. There's a bunch of reasons why we may not have met the rules here, but I'm not going to go through all those, but just know this is what we're having to keep up with through this program. There's a second page of them, a third page that we're basically just for tribal only eligible recipients. Passenger and rail freight, lots of money coming down from that. Obviously, we do not qualify for any of that because we don't own any passenger or rail freight. Public transportation, there's a few pots of money with that. Obviously, this is going to be dealing with the whole Bratz situation. We've been in conversations with Ann over at Bratz to make her aware of the different opportunities that are happening there. She was very much aware of those. She's keeping an eye on those and those notice of funding opportunities. So this is bus and bus facility competitive grants, low and no emissions, urbanized area and formula grants. This one is the money that we've identified to maybe help do some transit stops in both in Daphne and Spanish Fort, maybe some sidewalk connections to some transit stops and operating. So we're keeping an eye on that one as well. Formula grants for rural areas is another one that we've got some potential identified projects for operation, administration, and capital. Research, development, and demonstration and deployment grants, $132.2 million. No notice of funding has come out. We're just keeping an eye on it. The pilot programs for transit-oriented development, $68 million, no potential projects identified yet. Again, no notice of funding opportunity on that one or this one, which is the pilot program for enhanced mobility. Ineligible public transportation projects, again, are all listed here. And these were for tribal only. Safety programs, another category that we've been pretty successful with in the past is going to be our HSIP money, which is the Highway Safety Improvement Program. We've been successful in this one, getting a couple of grants recently. The 3131 intersection improvements, which is actually moving along nicely. We've gotten the right-of-way acquired on all of that intersection. We're actually doing utility relocations now. And the roundabout at 44 and 13 was funded through this as well. We're in the right-of-way acquisition phase in that project as well. So one of the ones that we're actually going after now is going to be the Baldwin Beach Express R-Cut at 64. That grant has already been submitted, and we feel like we're going to be pretty competitive through that process. Safe streets and roads for all. This is something we've been talking to ALDOT about, maybe trying to fund the improvements at 104 and 181. We're getting a lot of development going on there with the hospital and Publix and subdivisions and everything else that's popping up there. So we thought this might be a good pot of money for ALDOT to tap into to help improve that intersection. Wildlife crossings, we actually did some research on this. Do not have any identified locations for this, but it was $350 million to do a wildlife crossing. Ineligible safety projects, again, I'm not going to go through all of those, but you can see there's quite a bit of funding that's coming down. Resilience and clean energy programs. This one, I'm keeping a real close eye on. When the notice of funding opportunity comes out, it has not come out, but there's $7.3 billion that is allocated to this program. It's a new program. It's both formula and competitive. Alabama received $28 million in 22, but this may be a potential project for BBE2, a potential pot of money for the project of BBE2 from 10 to 65. This Protect grant really, if you read the program purpose, it says support planning, resilience improvements, community resilience, and evacuation routes for at-risk coastal communities. So, so that's, we're keeping a real close eye on that one to see if BBE2 will fit into that. Carbon reduction programs, $6.4 billion. Alabama got $28 million in 22. The MPO actually received about $192,000 for that. So we're looking at maybe trying to do a few charging stations for electrical vehicles with this money. We've been talking with Lee Lawson about maybe partnership with that. Charging and fueling infrastructure grants, again, same type of thing. Electric vehicles, $1.2 million, but there's been no notice of funding opportunities released on that one yet. The clean energy programs that we were ineligible for are listed in that screen. There's also some money for broadbands. Been communicating with Brian Peacock about these three programs here that we feel like that we may be eligible for, which is Reconnect programs, middle mile grants programs, and broadband loans. There's a lot more money coming down for broadband programs, but we didn't feel like we were eligible for these other programs here. So I know that was a lot of information, but that's what we've been trying to keep in touch, keep on top of from a grants program standpoint.
Any questions or comments from up here?
Not at this time, because that's a lot.
It is a lot for us. And
Man, I appreciate you staying on top. I mean, this is money that we got to take advantage of, and
Exactly right.
and whoever we've got monitoring this every single day of the week, it's stuff we can't miss out on if it's feasible to do. You know, the 60-40 matches are kind of tough, but
Yeah.
On big scale projects. But I think there's some potential out there once we get some of those NOFOs identified, and I think the sky's the limit on that much money that's being doled out. We just got to stay on top of it, and thank y'all for doing it.
All right. Well, I do want to give kudos to both Jessica and Sarah. They're the ones that put all this program together. They put the presentation together. They've been keeping on top of it. So they did a good job. And
Absolutely. The
staff is brainstormed over projects and identified different projects that maybe fit into the different pots of money. So they've done a good job.
Joey, if you had to rank, say, the top 5 project needs in Baldwin County, do these funding sources have the potential for funding some or all of those? In other words, we don't have a project out there that wouldn't fit one of these. Is that right?
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but again, when that notice of funding opportunity comes out, there's a lot more detail in
Sure.
that we may say, you know, the project that we had identified doesn't really fit
Doesn't match.
based on the new information. So which is why you always got to stay on top of them.
Sure.
Because when those notice of funding opportunities come out, there's a lot of times they don't give you a whole lot of time.
Just turnarounds pretty quick.
Yes, exactly.
I think that the one thing that I've been hearing just in the rumor mill out there is that we need to make sure we understand what's involved in
being involved in some of these things, because sometimes there's a little more behind the scenes things that's taking place, especially since it's coming down from the federal side.
Might even have some strings
There might be
attached.
some strings attached that, you know, we need to make sure that those things are okay with our way of life.
Sure.
I don't know the other way to put it.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
I'm not saying there are any. I'm just saying that,
It can be, though.
you know,
Could be.
anytime the federal's involved, there's always something that we need to make sure we understand what we're getting involved in.
That's right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Nothing's free, as I think someone in this room
That's right.
tells me all the time.
I mean, $1.2 trillion is a lot of money.
That's a lot of zeros
I don't
stuck
know how
out
to even
there.
count it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I want everybody in this room to know, and I'm not trying to embarrass him, but our county engineer is held in high regard by the Department of Transportation and particularly Mr. Cooper. I was in a setting with Joey when we were talking about 104 and 181, and Mr. Cooper said, "Joey, you design what we need." And then a few weeks later, I'm in a setting where he brings forward what we need at that intersection. And it's not just connecting two roads. It deals with all the things that are going on that you see going on and all the things that potentially will be going on, because you'll see some more arteries of that road coming out. And Joey, we appreciate the fact that your talents are being recognized in Montgomery, and Mr. Cooper doesn't pass those out easily, but he does feel very confident in your ability to design something that's presentable. And you got to remember, he was once in ALDOT, so he kind of knows how the system works. But thank you for that, Joey.
Thank you for the nice words, but I couldn't do anything without these guys sitting out here in this audience. So I've got a great staff, and I'm probably don't tell them that enough, but I appreciate everybody that's in this audience today. So
Good. Okay. Do we have any addendum?
He's got,
so
Oh, my
so-
bad. Excuse me.
So we can go through staff reports, or
No, let's go through staff report.
okay, okay, all right. So who wants to go
Senior
first?
moment.
Beth, you want to come up, give a little staff report?
hey, I don't think that's on.
Might have to mash the button.
It'll turn red, or should. There you go.
There you go. Okay.
There we are.
Beth Hodges, Chief Accountant for Highway. Can you hear me? Is that better? Okay.
Okay.
I don't build roads. My job's not as fun as building roads and, you know, doing things like that. So we hide in the corners and regurgitate information from, you know, the rest of the guys. But since the last time we talked, the highway accounting staff's biggest task has been converting our systems from our E1 financial software over to Munis and our SIMS legacy software over to Munis. I'm going to give you some details on that. It's a little boring information, but since going live in February of 2021 with the financial module, we have had 500 projects that have come through Highway. Currently, 377 of those are still open. So that just gives you the magnitude of what we do through Highway as far as projects are concerned. On October 21st, 21, we went live with the work order system. Since then, we have put in 5,000 maintenance or project-related work orders. Currently, 2,400 of those are still open. So that, again, gives you the magnitude of what Highway has to do as far as what they manage. In the EAM system, the work order system, we have to put in assets, and we have 400 pieces of equipment, 162 bridges, and 2,500 roads. And that is not all of the data sets that's coming down the road. So right now we have over 3,000 assets that have been incorporated into the new system. And for that, I want to stop and give thanks to my staff, Terry Bird and Crystal Wolf. This was a big project, and it incorporated many different pieces, and they took slices of the pie and just worked it and made it happen with deadlines that seemed impossible. So I want to give thanks to Crystal and Terry. They were phenomenal. I want to give thanks to my fellow staff, the section heads, for all the work that they provided to pour into us, to help us and provide us the help that we needed to get this rolling. And Want to give kudos to CIS, to Lana and Katrina. They were phenomenal in helping us and assisting us to get this done. So, in getting all this taken care of, we didn't do it by ourselves, and we just want to give the thanks to where that's due. And the progress and in the future is the system's on board, it's running, but we're wanting to refine it. We're working with the barn staff, and I also want to give the barn staff kudos as well for what they've done in helping us get this all done. But we're working to take that information and refine it and be able to put it back out in more usable product and reporting. So, and work with hub cards to get things on your desktop that you can see what highway's doing as far as metrics and work orders and things like that. So that's coming in the future. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Sarah, go ahead.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just going to give you all a quick update on the MPO and what we've been working on. So we are in the middle of our quarterly meetings. So we had our policy board work session last Wednesday and our advisory committee meetings Tuesday and yesterday. We'll have our big policy board meeting next Wednesday. We've been busy working on the county connectivity plan, which is a map, a future guide for future connectivity for bike ped. So bike lanes, sidewalks, things like that. We've been working with all 14 municipalities and the county on this for a good while. So we've finally put that out for kind of some comments, and we've gotten some really good feedback. So that's pretty exciting. We have our second meeting today for our Safe Routes to School Steering Committee. We've been working with Ms. Charlene on the walking school bus, and we're looking to expand that program to some other schools in the county. So very exciting there. We have been working on some transit projects. The Fairhope project still ongoing, and the project at Loxley Municipal Park, that project is getting ready to begin design. We have been staying on top of the infrastructure bill. It was a lot to kind of take in and break down, but we feel like we've finally gotten a good handle on that, and we'll be sure to stay on top of that for any funding opportunities. And I do want to mention that last year we did operate $128,000 under budget, so that is money that our member governments in the county can use for planning studies. So very proud of that.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you,
Very
Sarah.
good.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Tyler?
Good morning, everyone. Tyler Mitchell, Construction Manager. Just wanted to give you all some highlights of what we've done since the last time we met. Starting with our in-house traffic operations group. We've completed our sign inventory. Found out we have about 25,000 signs countywide, so that was a pretty big undertaking. I think it took a couple years. Had a lot of support from our geospatial group. Jacob leads that up, so he's helped us tremendously there. Our paving crew has completed the Loxley Sales Center, a couple dirt road paving projects with Sandy Creek Drive, Bender Road, and multiple strip patches. And we're about to get started on resurfacing Group 3, doing some of that work in-house, just to try to get the best bang for the buck on what we're doing with resurfacing. So, and then also our stripe crew has been really focused on maintenance striping in the last 6 months or so. As far as our construction projects go with contractors, we've completed the aid grant bridge deck replacements on County Road 65 and Doc McDuffie Road. The County Road 99 shoulder widening down in Lillian. Got 2 signals, one at 2859 and one at County Road 34 and US 98. And also the HRRR projects on County Road 47 and County Road 9 to do RPMs and scoring just in the curves there. So the things we have ongoing are the roundabout at 13 and 32. Got started on one of our FEMA projects for the County Road 11 ditch repairs. We're ongoing with resurfacing Group 1, overhead signs on the Foley Beach and Baldwin Beach Expresses, intersection improvements at Foley Beach and Wahoo, and then our 2 maintenance facilities, one at 100 and one at Area 200. Area 100 is very, very close to being done. Hopefully we'll get moved in there, very, very soon. And then we are working through punch list items on the launch at ICW. Actually have a meeting set up with the contractor tomorrow to do a walkthrough. So hopefully be buttoning that up pretty soon. But any questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tyler.
Frank?
And thank you for the weekly updates that you and the others send. Thank you.
Yeah.
We do. I do. Look at them.
read them.
We do.
If you ever wondered, do they see them? Yep.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Just want to give a quick rundown. I won't go into a lot of detail on some of the projects. You do get the weekly updates. I won't spend a lot of time on those, so we'll hit the high points. To add to what Beth was saying, or to kind of correspond with what she was saying, our work orders, we're on track for another record-setting year. We set a record last year. Since January, we have logged in over 1,000 new work orders. It's just phenomenal. So that also brings some challenges. We're very short-staffed, and so the guys are doing a great job of keeping on top of that, but the trend keeps going up. We have, since January, we have processed over, well, it's actually 579 new driveway connection, residential driveway connection permits. That's another record-setting year. If we keep progressing on the same trend, we're going to set another record this year for residential driveway connections. So a lot of work going on there. We've seen some increases in the north end of the county. Area 100 has really picked up pace on new driveway connections. So population growth is continuing north. A couple of the current projects we have going, just really quick, dirt road paving Fountain Street, Brantley Road, Lipscomb Road, several Hurricane Sally cross-drain repairs, Morning Dove Church Park. We broke ground up there and working for that new park facility. And then we're assisting with a joint venture with the construction section and also the contractor for the resurfacing projects. It's very efficient. It's very cost effective for us all to work together to do various parts of it. Allows us to put more asphalt on the ground doing it the way we're doing it. So thank the guys for working together as a team to get those done. The Loxley Sales Center, Tyler mentioned that. Kudos to the Area 200 crew and traffic operations that come in and knock that site out. We met the deadline for the grand opening. Kelly, I think, is very excited about that, and so we're glad to have that project turned out, and it turned out to be a very good project. A couple of other things we're doing internal in the engineering office. We've started our road inspections to get prepared for the FY23 budget. That's been kicked off. Zachary Bodel is heading that up, so good job on his part there. He's spending a lot of time finishing up the Hurricane Sally details, so we're working as a group effort with several in the room here on Hurricane Sally. And we're looking at what we can fine-tune for the next disaster process and fine-tuning our FEMA protocols and processes, and that's underway. So, quick overview. Any questions?
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Frank, for all that you do.
Thank y'all.
Good
And your
job.
team.
Yes, thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
All right, Seth?
Yeah.
Good morning, I'm Seth Peterson, Pre-Construction Manager for Highway Department. Going to go through a few of our key projects and some that are kind of upcoming. I'm not going to go through our full list. The County Road extension, County Road 20 extension from Hickory over to 65, that project is 85% in design, and we're about to start right-of-way acquisition. That's going to include the roundabout at 65, a large bridge, and a signal there at Hickory. The County Road 64 widening project from 181 to Monte Lucia Way or Fish River. That project's at 85%, and we're about to be requesting right-of-way authorization from ALDOT. Got to get ALDOT's permission before we start right-of-way, but we're right at that phase. County Road 13 and County Road 44 roundabout. We're currently in the right-of-way acquisition. We're about halfway done with the tracks we need there. Working with the utility companies, we'll soon start on utility relocation. The realignment of Old Highway 31 and US Highway 31, that's a HSIP project up at Spanish Fort. ALDOT is about 90% on the design. The right-of-way acquisition is complete, and we're about to start utility relocations there. Bridge replacements of River Road North over Keller Creek. So our design is done there. We have a little bit of right-of-way left to acquire, and we'll be ready to start construction there. Bridge replacement over Pine Grove Road extension over Styx River. Same thing there. Our design is complete, and we're right-of-way acquisition is on the verge of being complete almost ready to start construction. Resurfacing groups 2 and 2RA. That bid opening was yesterday, so we're processing those bids, making sure there's no errors, and that'll be coming to y'all for award very soon. Bond Secure Dredge Site, that's the Restore project. Design's complete, got everything, has been bid out, and is ready to award, just waiting on DCNR's approval. We had 11 box culverts that we're doing for FEMA. 8 of those 11 box culverts have been bid out, have been awarded, and we're going through executing contracts. Should start construction on those soon. You got 3 of those we're kind of holding on to get some permitting things worked out on. They'll be kind of right behind these other 8. The leveling that we're doing on the Beach Express and Water World Road, that construction should start in May. We just finished up the RAISE grant application last week. That was submitted. That was a big team work from not just highway, but from other departments. We got that application submitted last week. We also submitted the HSIP application for County Road 64 and the Beach Express R-Cut, and we are starting to work on the TAP application for County Road 1. So, any questions?
Yes, I had a call or an email actually about roundabout at 13 and 32. Is that what this person was concerned about signage for particularly snowbirds coming down with fifth wheels and RVs and that sort of stuff. Is that a legitimate concern? I just got that this morning. That's something that I'd like to be able to respond back to her if I could.
The design of the roundabout, that's the one that's actually under construction right now.
Yeah.
So that design and that circle is going to be the exact same diameter within a foot or two of the other 4 that are on 13. And so they're designed for fifth wheels and all of that.
Okay,
So,
thank you. I'll get back in touch with her and maybe then have y'all share some information with her. She's concerned about the delays and people that, I know you don't want me backing up a fifth wheel or something. I need a 40-acre field to do it. And she says there's some difficulty and maybe some signage early on could help. But we'll talk some more about that. Thank you, though.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Jacob. Save the best to last, right?
Is he last?
Huh?
Is he last?
He is. He is last.
Good morning.
Morning.
Jacob Pierce, Geospatial Operations. A couple of announcements. First thing is we've got a new GIS coordinator, Ethan Barker, who's been a very valuable asset and really been plowing through a lot of things the past 6 months. And so Eric Edwards, our survey manager, is also a valuable asset as well, and we're chugging right along, getting a lot of things knocked out and touching a lot of projects every day. So there's one of the main things that we do. We have the unique opportunity, very grateful to work with design, right-of-way operations, constructions, administration, to help and provide a lot of the valuable data that we, manage and can disseminate to y'all. So we're very grateful for that opportunity. And one of those things is kind of a culmination of what we started yesterday. We implemented some new GIS mapping for mobile applications. We started training on that yesterday as well, particularly for storm damage, events. And so we've got the opportunity to put that in the hands of staff, and it's going to be a valuable resource for them whenever we do. Hopefully we don't, but hopefully we have that information ready to assist and provide the information the decision makers will need during that storm event. So that's a big step for us, and one of the things we're most proud of lately. So,
Right. Thank you very much, Jacob. Jacob's been a huge asset to the team, and I thank everybody. Just noted, just about every single one of them was thanking their staff and other team members. So I just bragging on them about being team players. So it's all about being a team. So there's a couple people I did want to introduce. One would be Ori King. Ori, if you don't mind standing up, just say hey. He's a new team member to the team. We are happy to have him back. He was with us, he left us, and now he's back. We're glad to have him back. So thank you, Ori. And Jessica back in the back, she worked on all the presentations. So Jessica, she's part of Sarah's staff with the Eastern Shore MPO. So just wanted to give those introductions. I know y'all might not know everybody. So.
Okay. All right, now I guess I need to ask about addendum. Are there any items, number 4 there, relative to addendums? I'm not aware of any. Anybody have anything or know of anything?
Now, what about those other guys sitting back there? Like they on the back row of the church?
Oh, okay.
I'm watching you.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness, that is you.
Cut his hair.
That's fun.
Y'all have no idea what we're talking about, but if you did,
That's funny.
There's obviously a story
he's
there
got a
somewhere.
new hairdo.
Okay. Well, since I'm a hair expert, I might want to hear about it, but we'll do that afterwards, okay?
He's still smiling, though.
Okay, let's go to item 5, the comments, members of the public. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to the Road and Bridge group? I don't see any hands raised. Let's go with the press. Got any questions or comments at this point? Okay. Now let's go to commissioners. Billy Joe, do you have anything that you'd like to share with us?
I'm just excited to have this meeting again because we get an opportunity to see some of the staff that we don't get to see on a regular basis, and it's our opportunity to let you know, if you don't already know, how much we do appreciate what you do. Road and Bridge is a huge part of being a county commissioner, and on a daily basis, we all get, contacted about things, and just hearing the volume and the number of work orders that have been put in since you transferred the system, and then hearing what you've said just since January, it is mind-boggling to me. But I am so thankful for what you guys do. I don't know how much you hear. I'm sure Joey passes it down, but he's probably the one that has to communicate with me and the others the most. But you guys are just lifesavers for us because you're going to always have somebody that doesn't like something. But for the most part, you guys always come back with a way either to fix it or to explain why it is the way it is. Not that you're not a dig your heels in kind of group that says this is just the way it is and we're not going to do anything about it. You're very good about helping somebody like me who is an accountant understand, putting it in a perspective so that we can understand how to relate it sometimes to the public when we're just out and about. I just can't say it enough how much I have learned. By no means will I ever know what you guys know, but I notice things now when I ride around on the roads that I would have never noticed before, and I am so thankful for what you guys do, and I hope that no one ever says that we're not grateful for what you do, because you guys make what we do a lot easier than it could be. So I hope that we don't make your job difficult either, but thank you so much for choosing to work for the people. Many of you could work in the private sector, and we just really appreciate you having the desire to want to help and keep this county as great as it is. Thank you.
Yep, I just wanted to say thank you as well. We deal with Joey 100% of the time, and he funnels this stuff out to y'all. So some of those work orders are actually generated by us, believe it or not. Citizen calls us with a problem and immediately passes it on to Joey, and I think within a matter of minutes, I'll get an email telling me about work order that was generated, and then the citizen calling back saying, wow, man, that's the fastest we've ever had anything done. So it's a team effort. I always like, instead of going out looking for problems, I like to tell people, it's an issue, but we got solutions to the problems, and that's our great team. So we appreciate what y'all do. We don't say it enough. course, we don't have many road and bridge meetings. It's been a while since we've had one. So just know how much y'all are really appreciated, even though I'm not getting around to all the highway barns and all that stuff. I can honestly tell you I just need to make time, but we're busy, and this part-time job has turned into something that is not part-time, and I'm glad that they're happy to call it that, but I will laugh all day long at whoever deemed this a part-time job, because
It is definitely not part-time.
I have worked plenty of part-time jobs in my life and none like this. Anyway, thank y'all again for what you do. Y'all are lifesavers to this organization. Y'all are one of the strongest backbones that we have that work for us, because what y'all do impacts the citizens' lives more than you imagine. So the quick responses, I think the positive comments definitely outweigh the negative comments with this team. There's without a shadow of a doubt. And for the almost 4 years that we've been sitting up here, very rarely have I heard any complaints from our highway department and what y'all do. So keep up the great work. And Joey, thank you for allowing us to be a part of this team.
Thank you.
Skip?
Yeah, thank y'all so very much. I apologize for being late. But thank y'all, each and every one of y'all, for what you do. As an old highwayman, just spent a few years working with the highway department. I've noticed a lot of big changes, and they've all been very good. And you know, the times now have changed. People are more demanding than they used to be. Well, I want this done. I want it done today, and you know, and it's tough to get a lot of that, because you know, they don't realize that they have a work schedule that they try to do also, besides just running complaints down. You know, they got certain things that they need to do at certain times, and they have to do what they have to do. So thank each and every one of you, and thank all the crews for what they do, because it's just great having them out there working, and our staff and everyone else. Thank you very much.
I get a chance to be last. I also get a chance to point out that this department and all of our departments, we've got finance here, we've got solid waste here, we've got grants here, we've got some others here that I might not see, but we're greatly blessed as citizens in this county to have a team approach. Nobody's trying to worry about outdoing anybody, because we got a lot to do, and it's about getting it done. And road and bridge, I grew up in Clark County as a kid years ago, and I don't know if their title was road commissioner, but that's what everybody referred to the county commissioners as, the road commissioner. And I don't know that there's any real difference in some of those rural counties, because connectivity is important to get it started, but our challenge now is to have our connectivity keep up with our growth and the expanded things that are going on. So like everybody up here has said, thank you for what you do, and thank you for keeping the chain together, because that's what it takes. Joey's the one that we shoot the quizzes to. I personally don't believe that I should be talking to any of y'all about what you do. I'll point out to you that there's some things that maybe need to be addressed, and then I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. And I've been very, very, very pleased with all of that. And we get some more connectivity east and west, and we're going to get us a bridge to Mobile one day. I firmly believe that. And I'd like to see BB2 completed. If you think about it, think about the interstate all the way down to Buc-ee's. To me, I see it as 4 potential projects. One, AlDOT has already said that they will do the interchange on the interstate. They're waiting for us to come up with a way to get it from the interstate to 31. But we also need to have appropriate entrance and access to the mega site. So that kind of becomes the 3rd part. And then the 4th part would be from 31 down to Buc-ee's, which is the part that's been talked about as having a potential toll. People going to the coast will greatly utilize that opportunity. But I don't think it will take away from the economy on 59, because I don't know about you, but there are times that I get on our highways and wonder, is there a fire, or are we closed, or what's going on? Because we got people going everywhere. And signage is something that's critical, because those of us that live here, those of us that have moved here and live here, kind of know how to get from one place to the other. But think of the 6 million people that come to this county that may not know that 59 and 13 run parallel. And so signage becomes extremely important. Kind of getting on my horse now and I need to hush, but the main thing is to talk about road and bridge. It is one of the key components of what we're about, and frankly, what the four of us are judged on. And so just like this lady that contacted me this morning about 13 and 32, we'll figure out what her question is and what kind of response we can give her, and we'll do that. And if that pleases her, fine. If it doesn't, she'll just have to understand that it's a process, and progress takes time and takes effort. So at this point, do we need to, Ron, do we need to have a motion or something to?
Mr. Chairman, I was gonna,
Yes.
Since we are in a open public meeting today, as acting chairman of the main body, we have a recommendation from our attorney to go into an executive session, and we will need to listen from her to see what we need to do, and then follow her directions.
Okay, that's what I was trying to lead into. Yes, ma'am.
We can dismiss after the executive session without having to reconvene?
Yes, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Are you gonna have? Yep, we don't have any microphones out there today, so
Yep.
just come up to that podium and,
Yep.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I recommend the commission adopt a motion adjourning this meeting and convening an executive session to discuss with your attorney the legal ramifications of and legal options for pending litigation, controversies not yet being litigated but imminently likely to be litigated, or imminently likely to be litigated if the governmental body pursues a proposed course of action. Let it be reflected in the minutes that I'm an attorney licensed to practice law in Alabama, and that this exception is applicable to the plan discussion.
All right, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make that motion.
And I'll second it.
All right, we've got a motion and a second to take our attorney's recommendation to go into executive session, and we will convene. We will not reconvene this meeting, so we'll be adjourned in the big meeting, and we'll go to our executive session right here in a few minutes. Thank you all very much.
You gotta take the vote.
Oh, yes, by the way, we need to vote on that. All in favor signify by saying aye. 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 All opposed, like sign. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you very much.